Next, we will be hearing House File 44 from Representative Feist, who is a member of our committee. Representative Feist, it is your intention to refer this bill to the Education Finance Committee. Am I correct? And that is your motion?
That is my motion, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Feist. Representative Feist, please introduce your bill. And again, identify yourself for the record.
Thank you. Representative Sandra Feist, moving the menstrual equity bill. I would like to start by saying that I love all my bills equally, but not all bills are this much fun. And I just want to thank the student advocates who have worked so closely with me, the National Council of Jewish Women, Minneapolis, and just the entire advocacy community. This bill is a really big deal. It came to us from students, and I am super excited to be here today presenting it to you. So Elif, a Hopkins High School student, came to me in an email with some data, some articles, and said, this is something that matters to students. We need to do this in Minnesota. And I read the articles, I read her email, and I agreed. We need to do this. Period poverty is a widespread issue that directly impacts students' ability to get an education. 1 out of every 10 menstruating students miss school during their menstrual cycle due to a lack of period products. This absenteeism directly impacts educational attainment and indirectly impacts it as well through its correlation with increased depression and anxiety. This bill before you requires schools to provide free period products in all student bathrooms, grades 4 through 12. It is funded through an increase of $2 per pupil in the operating capital revenue. Yes. I'd like to just give some quotes from the materials that you have before you, and I would encourage you to look at a lot of the statements from school nurses, from students, from educators, youth workers. So here's just a sampling. A youth worker submitted a statement saying that period products are like soap and toilet paper. A rural educator talked about piling up absences due to period poverty. Multiple statements talk about period products as a necessity. Students talked about feeling comfortable and able to focus. They talk about having period products as something that relieves their stress. They talked about feeling safer, cared for, and respected by their schools when they have access to those period products. School nurses provided a lot of statements in your materials talking about how students felt stranded when they couldn't afford these products. Talked about how just having those products available and accessible was educational, just in terms of like understanding bodily functions. It talked about keeping kids in school and how these are basic health supplies. So this is a wise investment. Helping students who regularly miss school stay in class is a wise investment because chronic absenteeism costs a lot more than just paying for free period products. Notably, this investment impacts our ability to invest in all students because when schools have less funds because they're paying to address chronic absenteeism, they're not able to fully invest in the entire student body. Providing these products openly also has the impact of normalizing conversations around periods to reduce the shame or stigma attached to this normal bodily function that impacts a full half of the human population. We ensure that students have toilet paper, paper towels, soap, and Band-Aids, and we should ensure that students have period products as well. So I am very excited and honored to be here today to present the menstrual equity bill, and I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, Representative Feist, and I believe that we do have some testifiers with us today that we look forward to hearing. First of all, from Hopkins High School, Elif, if you could introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee for giving me this opportunity to speak today. My name is Elif Turk, and I'm a junior at Hopkins High School. The first time that I truly became aware of the toll that a period takes on a young girl in school was during my 8th grade. Each and every day that I went to the girls' bathroom, I would hear whispers asking friends for products, and I could feel the heightened stress caused by that time of the month. What truly frustrated me, though, was the fact that I had friends who didn't just forget their products, but couldn't afford them in the first place. I had friends whose parents couldn't give them access to this luxury product. I had friends who decided to just skip school during that time because we cannot learn when we are leaking. I thought to myself, how is this fair? How do we expect our students to carry this burden on them throughout the school day and still perform well? My number one priority should be to learn, not to find a pad. So I can no longer be complacent with this injustice. During the fall of my 9th grade, I emailed various representatives, hoping they too would see my perspective on this. I received an excited response from Representative Feist and began working with her. Later, we teamed with NCJW and decided on language. This is a low-cost effort that would help so many lives from having to miss out on their right to an education. Tampons and pads aren't optional. They are necessities. They hold the same purpose as toilet paper, which is always free for use. Yet these products are not so readily available within the walls of our schools. Why is that when they make the difference between a normal day and a traumatic one? Period poverty within schools is impeding on our students' educations and the right to be respected as human beings. It is time to finally provide this one product that will allow them to peacefully go through the school day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have, I believe in person, Evelyn and Tori from Egan High School. And again, if you can identify yourself and proceed with their testimonies.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Evelyn Gore,
And I'm Tori Robarge.
and we both graduated last year from Egan High School as leaders who work to end period poverty in District 196. The District 196 Period Poverty Project initially started out through an Honors 10 speech class, where we were given the task to present a speech about a topic that we were passionate about. In an all-female group, we found common ground with the issue of period poverty. As we spent more time researching, our passions grew. Within minutes, we were emailing our superintendent, Mary Krieger, and inviting her to come and watch our class presentation. After partnering up with our Women's Empowerment Club, speaking at several school board meetings, and surveying our own school body, District 196 awarded us with a $10,000 grant. This grant tangibly allowed us to actually make a difference. Today, in District 196, you can find free tampons and pads in the gender-neutral, women's, and at least one men's bathroom for every school. While our story is seen as a success story, this equity needs to be brought to the rest of the students in Minnesota. It's not fair to assume that other districts can do what District 196 has done. My district is very fortunate to have the resources that other areas in this state do not have. So I ask you to use my period poverty project not as an example for what other districts should do, but instead as an example of how providing free menstrual products for students is crucial in creating the safe learning environment that we so often claim to create.
As Evelyn said, a part of our research, we wrote and administered a menstruation-based survey to the student body of Egan High School. We found overwhelming support for the addition of free products. When asked if there had ever been a time when they didn't have access to a product, 195 students offered us answers. 66% said that they didn't want to miss class by going to the nurse's office, 35% said that their teacher wouldn't let them go, 18% said that they did not have money to give to the nurse who was paying for these products out of her own pocket, and 43% said that they were too scared or embarrassed to go and talk to the nurse and ask for one. As Representative Feist said, 1 in 10 Americans have missed school due to a lack of period products. Hundreds of thousands of people are missing out on critical opportunities like a well-deserved education. We expect that due to the boxes we implemented, we will see an increase in attendance. People that don't regularly have access to these products at home don't feel fearful of being unclean or insecure about a lack of hygiene that's out of their control. By providing these products inside of the bathrooms, we are not only keeping students in the building, we are keeping them in their seats. Period poverty is not a political issue. Period poverty is not a way to impose power over school districts or to question their ability to make their own decisions. Period poverty is a health issue and it is an equity issue. Once more, I am urging you to understand the fact that students of this state will be immeasurably grateful for the decision that you've made with them in mind. They will be grateful not only for the access to products, not only for the chance to maintain an equal education with their peers, but also for the work that is being done to normalize an uncontrollable bodily function. Period poverty is not something that can be disagreed with. Period poverty is indisputable and your students need you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next testifier is Kathleen Mahi, who is a licensed school nurse and in a middle school.
Chair Lori Pryor and members of the House Education Policy Committee, my name is Kathleen Mahi, and I am a licensed school nurse at Eastham Middle School in St. Paul. I'm not the first middle school teacher or worker today, so I'm in a room with my great company. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to briefly speak with you today about an important health issue that impacts half of our student population. This statement is in support of HF 44, which would provide access to menstrual products in Minnesota school bathrooms. As a middle school nurse, I assist several students daily that are unexpectedly in need of menstrual supplies. As you can imagine, this is a humiliating experience for my 6th to 8th grade students. In my office, I seek donations and also purchase menstrual supplies to attempt to supply the 300 plus students for when they are in need. The donations and my personal funds are limited, and the sustainability is uncertain. Because of financial barriers, some students are unable to attend school due to lack of menstrual supplies. This is a very unfortunate and inequitable situation that leads to poor academic outcomes. On the bright side, the menstrual inequity issue can be easily fixed. By providing free menstrual supplies in school restrooms across the state, humiliating situations will be avoided and absenteeism will be decreased. Menstrual supplies are a basic hygienic necessity and should be as readily available to students as toilet paper. It's time to move forward with an equitable plan for all students. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen Mahi. And our next testifier is going to be remote. And we have Matson, a student at Mankato. And if you can identify yourself as you come on again and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Matson, and I am 14 years old. I am a student at Mankato East High School, and I present this statement in support of HF 44, which aims to provide access to free menstrual products in Minnesota school bathrooms. Providing free period products will remove unnecessary stress from students' everyday lives. Every menstruating individual knows what it's like to be caught off guard without the supplies you need, but this does not need to be the reality in our schools. We can provide students with the period products they need for a safer, more equitable learning experience. Nobody deserves to worry whether they will have access to or be able to afford basic hygiene products while they are at school. Right now, it is up to students to help provide for themselves and each other. Right now, I am currently working with a group of students across our district to build a drive that would provide period products in our school bathrooms. We hold it dear to us that every student has access to the products they need, no matter their financial standing, no matter where they come from. They deserve to have access to this basic hygiene product. I'm fortunate enough that this has never been a concern for me, but many people are not, and access to period products should not be based on the good fortune of the student. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us. And I just will have to say, everybody's got better internet than I do. There's no. All right, our next remote testifier is Trinity Hannah, student at Carlton College.
Hi, my name is Trinity Haniff, and I'm currently a freshman at Carleton College and a member of the Young Women's Initiative Cabinet. When I was in high school, I experienced firsthand the educational and economic consequences of having a menstrual cycle. My period caused me to miss school, leave class for extended periods of time, and overall just lose focus. If I forgot to bring menstrual products, I spent a significant amount of time searching for tampons and pads, or I would have to leave school for the day. This was an issue for many menstruators at my school. So I tried to convince my school board in 2020 to provide students with free menstrual products throughout bathrooms. They refused, so I personally acquired a grant to fund the effort. Every week, I had to leave class to restock the bathrooms myself. Last year, when our supply ran out, I had to leave school early to drive to a warehouse in Golden Valley and pick up more pads and tampons. This burden should not be placed on students. Schools provide a variety of hygiene products at no cost toilet paper, soap, paper towels, Band-Aids. Why aren't menstrual products on that list? Why are we okay with putting menstruators across the state at an educational disadvantage? There is still a stigma surrounding menstruation. It takes an emotional toll, especially on young students. I used to constantly worry about bleeding through my clothes, and I feared bullying, harassment, and public humiliation of an accident. We should ensure that students feel supported in their educational settings, not ignored and embarrassed. I support this bill because it's the right thing to do for menstruators across Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next testifier is Carlin Davril, RN, a licensed school nurse in District 287. And please again introduce yourself and perfect and give the correct pronunciation of your name as I struggle through it.
Hello. My name is Carlin Diavril. Only my mom calls me Carlin when I'm in trouble. I usually go by Kari. I will answer to Carlin, but I'll sit up straight. And yes, I am a licensed school nurse at South Education Center in Richfield. It's part of Intermediate 287, which is a club for many, many unique students. So, statistics give you information. Stories give you empathy. Action gives you respect and gives justice. For girls under the age of 18, 20% of our kids do not have access to hygiene supplies. 10% of our entire country, but 20% of our girls, our kids. That means in any given day, 20 out of 100 girls could miss 3 to 7 days of school every month. Just because they have body parts called ovaries and uteruses. If you need to talk any of these terms later, let me know. I can talk about any of it. The stigma toward females also harms our young men. What message do we give our young men around topics like respect, consent, human value if basic care items are withheld from half of their classmates? It's not just a female issue. What message are our boys receiving? In order to understand, you must hear the stories of others. Every month, kids with good attendance will noticeably be absent from my school. Where's so-and-so? I'll ask. A friend will usually tell me. Upon their return, I often hear not excuses, but poverty truths, keeping girls from class due to lack of affordability of feminine supplies, housing insecurity, lack of laundry, lack of the ability to afford detergent to wash their soiled clothing, so they're not coming to school. Kids sidle into my office to ask for feminine supplies, and in my garbage behind, in my clogged toilets, I have rolled up toilet paper, rolled up socks, younger siblings' diapers that are being used in any way so that they can come to school. Working with young teens from cultures where any topic deemed anything remotely sexual is taboo, many times they don't even actually have the language to explain to me what the problem is because it is not talked about at home. They come to me and they have a downcast eyes and they have a flushed face and they kind of look at me and I know what they need. They don't have to ask, but they don't even have the language and they are so embarrassed to ask. They're shamed to ask for basic need health necessities because they have received the message not only from their homes, but also from our greater culture, and that includes us, that they are vulnerable, that they are considered less than for a normal body function, and that they deserve society's scorn. That's the message they've received, and they don't even have the ability to ask. For many of my unique learners, my special education students, financial hardship is brought on by their increased care needs, as often one parent is unable to work at all so that they can care for that special needs student. For my immigrant families, living in large extended family groups is a protection, but it's also an action of financial survival. My students and their families work 1, 2, 3 jobs, nights, weekends to help pay for rent. There is no money for extras. Feminine hygiene products are extra if you can't pay for heat. For my kids who are homeless and highly mobile, getting access to a washer and dryer in my office is the only reason they sometimes come to school. They hide behind my desk, under a blanket, and they wait for their clothes to dry before they go to class. And I feed them granola bars because they haven't had breakfast. Let's go back to the other one. We stock toilet paper in public bathrooms because I have lots of favorite children's books, but one of them that I adore is called Everyone Poops. Last time I checked, men, if you consider yourself male, raise your hand if you have your extra roll of toilet paper with you in case the supplies are not there when you need it. You do not have to raise your hand, but if women who identify as female, raise your hand if you always, when you needed it, had extra supplies in your purse or your backpack, knowing that you would always need it, or you always handed one to a friend. There is your gender difference. A normal body function that affects half of our school population is considered a luxury. For kids to learn, trauma-informed practice states a child must feel safe as well as identify to be a valued part of a school community. For students who are born genetically female, part of basic safety is providing for their normal body needs. We need to raise our girls to feel empowered while also raising both genders to respect each other in all our beautiful forms. Stocking supplies in a bathroom is a small gesture, but the message that the girl child is valued, with their bodies respected within class walls, puts action behind the claim that we want them in school. A young, brilliant, so much smarter than me woman named Amanda Gorman has a voice of wisdom far beyond her years, says, "A quiet life isn't always peace, and the norms and notations of what just isn't always justice." I think we need to change what always has been just is. Stock the bathrooms, allow kids to be in school. Being female should not be a barrier to education. Thanks.
Thank you. And finally, we have Thomas Stinson, RN, licensed school nurse at Harding High School. And if you can please identify yourself and then
Yes, Madam Chair.
begin your testimony.
Hello, thank you, Madam Chair and House Education Committee members for allowing me to testify today. My name is Dr. Thomas Stinson. I'm a practicing LSN, or licensed school nurse, a public health nurse, also a proud member of the St. Paul Federation of Educators. I'm also on the Policy and Council for American Federation of Teachers and a professor at St. Mary's University in the nursing program. I worked for the St. Paul Public Schools now going on 25 years. Today I work at Harding High School, which we have an enrollment of around 1,900 students. I'm here to support to end period poverty in Minnesota schools. Every school I've worked at, period products has been an issue. School nurses don't have the funding for period products, and many pay for their products out of their own pockets. Period products is a basic need for our students, just like soap and toilet paper in our restrooms. Every single day, students come to my health office for period products. Many students don't have the money or means to get period products, so they rely on the public schools. I see probably 40 or 50 students a day, and many have to wait in order for me to talk with them. If we had period products available in restrooms, they'd move along quicker. Making period products available and more accessible will also decrease the amount of educational time lost. It is common for students to have accidents with menses, and I contribute this to not having period products available. If this happens, the student needs to go home, they miss the rest of the day, and this also contributes to more educational loss. We can't expect individual students to fund period products, because they won't. We need to have legislative support. Providing period products in our public schools is a public health issue and should be a right. Please support our work to end period poverty in Minnesota schools. Thank you.
You can stay.
Thank you.
I'm going to have Mr. Stinson say.
That's very fine. Thank you. And next, we're going to take up the A1 amendment for this bill. And I believe Representative Erdl, excuse me, you'll be presenting the A1.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the amendment. And I would like to emphasize, I recognize this is an important issue. I appreciate the testimony of those who have been testifying, and Representative Feist for bringing this forward. And I will also add that many of the concerns were also relayed to me by my wife last night. So, again, that said, my amendment inserts on line 22, after the word by, the word female. This is just about practicality. I believe that these products should be most available to those that would use them, girls. And this amendment makes that more likely.
Thank you, Representative Erdl. To the author of the bill, would you speak to the amendment, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would encourage the committee to vote no on this amendment for a few reasons: practical, financial, social, emotional. First, there are a lot of schools that are moving towards gender-neutral bathrooms, and if we add female, we might become obsolete very quickly. Second, not all students who menstruate are female. We need to make sure that all students have access to these products. There are obviously less non-female menstruating students, and therefore their usage will be much lower. And that was actually calculated into the cost of this and how much we decided to fund it. And so we do not expect that the non-female menstruating students will use these products as much as the students using female bathrooms, but it's important to have them there. And that brings me to just the social emotional reasons for that. These students who are not female, who menstruate, face a greater stigma and barrier to asking for these products, and so providing them in an easily accessible place in all student bathrooms is particularly important for those students. And lastly, I'll just mention that a lot of schools, as our testifiers have said, have done this already. They've provided it in all student bathrooms. There have not been issues. And this just helps us, again, normalize conversations around the menstrual cycle and make sure that everyone feels comfortable around these products that so many of us need. Thank you. And so I would encourage folks to vote no on the amendment. Thank you. Oh, and I'm so sorry, Madam Chair. My testifier also wanted to comment on this.
I will recognize Dr. Stinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I strongly recommend no to the amendment as well. I think this adds another barrier for our kids, right? I meet with students all the time, like our GSA program, and our kids are smart. Accessibility is number one. This is just another way to divide people in our schools. And we want to make people comfortable. Our kids are talking about things that we don't talk about as adults. That's why we're here. We have a great testifiers from different schools, and we want access just available for everybody. And to add that doesn't make sense to me. So I strongly say no for the amendment.
Other members' discussion to the amendment before us, the A1. Representative Erdl,
Thank
final
you,
word
Madam
on the
Chair.
amendment.
Well, this old Norwegian has trouble understanding some of that. But, Representative Feist, maybe you can explain some things to me some other time offline here. Thank you.
Right. We'll take a vote on the A1 amendment. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. The amendment does not carry.
Screwed myself up.
All right, and now we will look for a discussion on the underlying bill. Member discussion. Yes. I recognize Representative Keeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Feist, for working on this, and thank you for the advocates. I think also, thank you to our school health staff. I think often we hear the stories that when there's needs,
it tends to be our own staff that come out of their pockets for that. So I don't want to move forward without recognizing the amazing work that you all do to see the need for our students and uplift that. But it's not your responsibility for it to come out of your pocket. But I do want to acknowledge that, again, back to the point I made around the food, is that this is actually an anti-bullying bill. This is actually an increase in attendance and a reduction of truancy or completely missing school. And so for me, it's important to address when and how we're going to implement this. So we know that the stats will tell us that bullying increases in the tweens, so between ages of 9 and 12, which is also when menstruating tends to start to happen. So can you just walk through, so we have some elementary schools that actually like have 5th grades and stuff. Will these be available in the elementary schools as well?
Representative Feist.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Rep. Keeler. The answer is yes. So the products will be provided starting in 4th grade bathrooms. And this is particularly important because studies show that students are actually, or like humans, actually menstruating earlier. And so making sure that we have these products for younger kids who are even less emotionally equipped in a lot of cases to deal with the fact that they have started menstruating is particularly important. So I think about my daughter, she's in 5th grade. Just making sure that those products are available for her age group, I think is particularly important. Thank you.
Representative Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Feist, for bringing this bill. And look, I remembered the red. And the story about that, I got up early this morning, and it was because of my daughter I remembered the red. We had a conversation this morning, and I was telling her to be safe on the slick roads, is how icy it was. But I have 3 daughters. And in our middle daughter, the teenager, she often has her friends over. So I've experienced the consternation and anxiety when those products are not around. I've had to make runs to the store to ensure that they're there. Now I just try to often make sure we're stocked up. But I understand what that disruption does, and we're at home. I can only imagine what it's like at school. So thank you for bringing this bill. I believe it will do a great deal of support for our students that need it, and I'm looking happy and forward to voting yes on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Fraser. Any other discussion to the bill? Representative Berg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Representative Feist for bringing this bill forward, and especially the students who brought this to our attention, which we were talking about. We were nowhere near this savvy or this socially active on these important issues when we were their age. This bill is titled the Menstrual Equity Bill for a reason. Just like we were talking about the free and reduced lunch, othering other children, separating children, this does as well. And I think as we are looking at rampant bullying and other damaging issues for our students, this is a simple thing to do to make sure everyone has what they need and nobody needs to be embarrassed. Doesn't matter if you understand or not how a student identifies. If they need the product, they need the product. Thank you, Representative Feist, for bringing this forward.
Representative Mueller.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a question for the author of the bill, please. What in statute now prevents a school from providing menstrual products?
Representative Feist.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Rep. Mueller. Nothing prevents them from providing these products, but for some reason, most schools do not provide them, even though they provide toilet paper, Band-Aids, paper towel. And so this bill will require them to provide these products and also make sure that they have the money to afford it.
Follow-up, Representative Mueller.
Thank you, Chair. Well, and I know I've, again, been teaching both in middle school and high school. Myself, I'm a woman. Understand, it's been, it's a ride, it's in school, and I understand. I so appreciate all of your testifiers, especially the students who came and shared their story. Their testimony already shows how this can already be done. And I note in their testimony, they said this shouldn't be taken as a way for schools to do it. It should be shown how we all need to be mandated to do it. But the truth is, nothing in statute prevents them from doing it already. And having the chance of them to go through the process. I've had my students do this too. we did project-based learning where they brought awareness to a problem, brought awareness to an injustice, and the local school board was able to take action, and our local community was able to rally around our students, and our students were able to take ownership and able to have a sense of accomplishment as they completed this. So I applaud this bill. At the same time, I wonder, there is nothing in statute that prevents our local school districts from doing this right now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We are approaching the end of our meeting. I'm going to recognize Representative Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Weiss, thank you for bringing this bill forward. It's another example of an issue I think is totally valid, and I appreciate you bringing light to it, and all the testifiers, excellent. Again, it's the solution that I have a problem with, and in this case, it's taking away local control. The solution, in my mind, should empower, not mandate. And we should, instead of mandating, we should be empowering our school boards and our local administrators to adopt best practices. And MDA, what a great job to be able to come alongside school districts and show them, here's how all the different ways many other districts are doing this. This is something that's important. And then encourage our students to advocate for themselves, because that's what we want them to do. And I think when we mandate things like this, we not only take away the local control from our leaders, our local leaders, like school board members and so on, but we take away the power from the very students where we want them to learn to advocate for themselves. So I would much rather see this, let's give the districts the $2 per student for their operating capital budgets, but then allow them to determine how best to do this. Don't mandate it. They might find a local service group that will donate all those products, and then they can use that $2 for something else that's really important in their capital budget. So I'm going to disagree with this on just another mandate, even though, thank you for funding it, that's a good thing, but our districts don't need another mandate. We want to empower them, and that's why I will be voting no, because I want to empower our local schools and our students and all those local school board members, and not just constantly tell them what they have to do. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Final words, Representative Feist.
Thank you, Chair. So access to menstrual products is a human right. And while I find it incredibly inspiring that we have 14-year-olds and all of these wonderful, amazing, empowered students who are much more with it than I was at that age, coming to us and telling us what they need and making it happen, including in Munster School District, where they made a cute flyer that I wanted to show everyone. We should not put it on the shoulders of students to advocate for their basic human rights. All schools are not providing these products. They are essential for students to remain in school, to have full access to a quality education, and that is why I have brought this bill. Menstrual products are not a luxury. They ensure the health, dignity, and full participation of all students in our public schools, and I would urge members to vote yes, please.
Thank you, Representative Feist. We'll now take a vote on House File. Just a second. All right. And we'll have Representative Feist renew her motion to refer House File 44 to the Education Finance Committee.
Yes, so moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
The motion prevails, and House File 44 will be referred to the Education Finance Committee. Thank you, Representative Feist.
Thank you.